Thanks everyone for showing up for today's webinar. Don't click that link, Phishing and Defenses, co-sponsored by KnowBe4 and Akins IT. I'm Roger Grimes with KnowBe4 and I'm here with Christian Rios. Get my slides moving. There we go. Again, I work for KnowBe4. We're the world's largest security awareness training platform vendor, trying to help people not click on stuff. Again, I'm Roger Grimes. I've been doing computer security for 33 years. I've earned all those gray hairs. I've written 12 books and over 1,000 magazine articles on computer security. I've worked for almost all those years trying to fight phishing and social engineering and malware and bad guys. So I'm glad to be here to speak with you all today. There's some of my books. The last one was Cryptography Apocalypse, where I talked about how quantum computers are going to break today's crypto and what companies need to do to prepare. But now I'm going to kind of turn it over to Christian to talk about Akins IT.
Hey, thanks so much, Roger. Thanks everyone for joining us. That was awesome. My name's Christian. I head up the business development here for Akins IT. Hope everyone's great today. Just a little bit about Akins before Roger starts us off. We're based local out of beautiful Newport Beach. With over 20 years of consulting experience, we are the experts that deliver. We strive to partner and educate our clients with the ability to simplify IT for them at the same time. We specialize typically in mid-sized organizations that lack the resources, whether that means in their time, budget, or just expertise on hand. If we see in this next slide.
Hold on. There we go.
So as you can see right here, we provide a wide range of solutions and services with proven processes we have in data centers, networking, cloud, and consulting with Akins. You also see a variety of trusted partners we work with down here, and KnowBe4 being a great example right now. One of them we've recently partnered with to bring you this webinar today. I'm really excited though for you guys to see the demo, and I'll just hand it back to Roger. Thank you so much for joining again.
Thanks, Christian. Appreciate it. And thanks, everybody. I've got two main things. First of all, just to talk about what phishing and phishing is and giving you lots of phishing examples, and then talk about how you defend yourself against phishing, both using Akins IT, your own tools that you might have, and just educational things you can do to yourself and employees. So it's a little bit of both. First, the problem, I guess, and then the defenses. But we're going to start with a trivia question. We actually have three gift cards today. We have two trivia questions where now and then in another 10 or 15 minutes we'll have a second one where you can win a gift card, and then at the end we're going to have a $100 gift card raffle that will be randomly chosen among everybody. But take a look at this question here, and if you could answer it in the comments. Christian, if we have matching people with the right answer, which I'm sure we will, he's going to randomly pick a winner, and we're going to announce the winner of the first trivia question just in about 20 or 30 seconds. So the first trivia question is, what is the #1 way most malware gets exploited on a user's desktop? Is it A, unpatched software, B, social engineering, C, poor passwords, or D, weak security configuration? So take your guess or your knowledgeable answer, put it in the comments, and then we'll wait 10 or 20 seconds. And I'll probably, maybe it's best if I keep talking a little bit. By the way, if you haven't heard me speak before, I speak really, really fast. I could be that guy on the car commercial that says, you know, MSRP taxes and very included.
Roger, so we already have an answer here from Mayor. That is B, he has guessed, which would be the right answer. I don't know why, but I was waiting for a cue of like a bell to go off.
That's right.
There's nothing after that, but you win money or a gift card, so that's just as good.
Yeah, so make sure you share your information with Christian so he can get your gift card to you. We're going to keep going. We'll talk more about that answer later on.
Yeah.
First,
I'm sorry, just real quick, I just want to acknowledge as well, Ramel put poor passwords. I would say that's a good guess though, because if your password is password, that'll happen. But I'm sorry, go ahead and continue, Roger. Thank you.
Yeah, I am always surprised that I've been collecting compromised passwords for 30 years and analyzing them, and password is always the #1 most popular password, followed by like password 1 by QVERTY, and it just hasn't changed over 30 years. I'm oftentimes shocked.
Crazy.
Yeah, but we'll get back to phishing. Phishing is officially, we say it's the process of someone or something maliciously masquerading as a trusted entity to acquire unauthorized information, like your password, or to create a desired action like run this Trojan that is contrary to the victim or the company's self-interest. It's really a con. It's trying to get some information from you. It could be your password, your logon information. It could be information about your company. It could be confidential proprietary information, or many times it's to run a Trojan horse software program or something like that. Often done in email, as we know, social engineering in email, but it can be done in person. You know, cons have been around forever and still done in person all the time. It can be done on messaging, on SMS, short messaging service on your phone, or they can call you. It can be done by voice, and depending on how it's done, there's different names. Like phishing is the generic term. Spear phishing means they're targeting a particular person. Well phishing, if you've ever heard of that, could be like where they're targeting like a CEO or something like that. Spamming is when they're just trying to like sell you something like Viagra or something like that. Phishing, that's voicemail phishing, and smishing is SMS phishing. And again, it can even be, you know, messages and voicemails and things like that from people claiming to be, you know, your bank or a particular website or Microsoft or a friend. Something I like to stress a whole lot is that anybody can be the victim of social engineering. We've done lots of studies. We've done a lot of studies with the University of Central Florida. Intelligence has very little to do whether you fall victim to a social engineering phishing scam. Doctors, lawyers, there was even a Nobel Physics Prize winner that was scammed out of $2 million. You know, intelligence is no indicator of whether or not you're going to be successfully phished or not. What we found out is that it happens, it just really depends upon whether the victim has ever heard of a particular scam. Like a lot of people know that Microsoft never calls you proactively to tell you you have a virus, but if you don't know that, you don't know that. And a lot of people get called by a company claiming to be Microsoft. Usually it's a company from India or somewhere, or Pakistan, somewhere around there, but they claim to be with Microsoft. They claim to have found a virus on their system. They ask the person to allow them to come in with this tech support, remote support software. They then, not surprisingly, find a bunch of viruses, and then they charge the person for a new antivirus program. And so the scammers not only get money out of the people, they not only get access to them, but they also validate their email address and resell it for more phishing and spamming campaigns. Well, I worked for Microsoft for 12 years, and I like to tell people, if you were actually, not only does Microsoft not proactively call you, but if you were lucky enough to be able to find the right number to call, have $200 to give Microsoft, you would have a hard time getting help. That's the reality. But if you don't know that's the reality, you don't know that's the reality. So it's all about being aware of different types of phishing. Most of us are used to these kind of fake email phishing things like PayPal, where they're saying, hey, PayPal says that there was a problem. We had a problem with your account. Or here's one that's claimed to be from Microsoft Teams, which we're using today. And they claim they sell unusual activity, and you need to, this unusual activity came from Nigeria. Did you contact us from Nigeria? And you're like, no, I didn't. So I'm going to click, or I'm going to try to fix this problem. Those are very common signs or types of phishing. But you can also get phishing through your browser, through YouTube, through Facebook, through Twitter. Here's some example ones that I found, or I can't remember whether I found them or whether I actually got them conducted on me, but I love this one here that it's trying to add an extension. Like someone went to YouTube, and if you look at the the URL as I call it, it's not YouTube at all. It's something called Kerman PW. The opposite is not YouTube at all, but it's trying to run an extension. And if a person added that browser extension to watch what they're saying, oh, you need to install this codec extension to watch this video, only takes 5 seconds. Well, that would then compromise their workstation and allow them to start stealing information. Or another one of my favorite ones is this: you get this text from Facebook going, hey, we removed the abusive content that was posted on your Facebook account. Click here, and you're like, what do you mean? What's funny is I think that spam really knows me, that fish, because I'm like, abusive content. Well, I've got to see what abusive content was removed. Or this other one, yeah, like they know that. Or the same thing here is, do you want to watch this video, or this or that. So phishing really happens quite oftenly through Facebook, through YouTube, through Twitter. We use social media, and so do the bad guys. Here's another one of my favorites: is Facebook is telling me that I need to click here to update my Facebook account to make it. I don't know about. I've never been asked by the real Facebook to ever update my account, but here they are trying to get me to update my account. Or the top one is a Twitter verification page. But again, if you look at the URL at the top of the screen there, which is one of the best things anyone can do, is look at the URLs. You can see that it's not from twitter.com. It's from mobileauthentication.0webhostapp.com. It's not twitter.com. Or in the one in the bottom right-hand side of the corner, it's claiming to be from LinkedIn. But it really is from this LinkedIn, and it's not LinkedIn, it's LinkedIn-IA. It's definitely not LinkedIn. So, it's a sound-alike, look-alike URL. So you have to be careful of that. Here's another example I got when I was the InfoWorld CSO weekly security columnist for 15 years. Here's one I got that was claiming to be from Maersk. Maersk, if you don't know about them, they're the world's largest shipping and container company. So it's claiming to be that Maersk is going to send me the shipping documents they want me to open. But I laugh because it's not coming from Maersk.com. It's coming from onlinealex.com.pl, which I think that the PL is the country code for Poland, and it's being sent to me via Microsoft Hotmail or Office 365. That's what that ON Microsoft.com means. Well, it didn't come from Maersk.com. Large companies like Maersk have their own domains. They don't have to use onlinealex.com.pl. Here's another one that came to my InfoWorld account that was telling me that I was running out of my mailbox was running out of storage. But when I hovered over it, again, one of the best things you can do is to hover over something. It's not coming from InfoWorld.com. It says it's coming from InfoWorld.com, but really it's coming from, as I hovered over at the ShareList.net. So again, not from my company. Here's another one. It was a fake franchise agreement claiming to be from Subway. And what I love about this is they say, hey, there's a doc file, DOCX file we want you to open for your Subway franchise. And I don't know what Subway PR, I guess they're supposed to think that's Subway public relations. Is saying we're not going to, PDF won't send them my Mac. That's never happened to anybody that I know on a Mac. But they're saying, so we're attaching a Microsoft SharePoint preview document that you should open up at your earliest convenience. And if you do, it's going to prompt you for your login name and password. And if you do that, they get that information. And then it will try to execute malware on your system. Smishing, SMS-based short messaging service phishing is becoming a lot more popular. Here's some common real-world ones that I got. One that was claiming to be on the bottom from IRS, saying, here's your code. And I'm like, my activation code, oh my God, I didn't do anything with the IRS. And you would probably click on that. You'd say, reply for help. Why are you sending me this password activation code? I'd be freaking out because I haven't done anything with the IRS. And then they would send you back some reply that tells you to click on this link that gets you into this, fake phishing event. Let's see. The same thing. Well, telling me my Wells Fargo account is locked. I don't have a Wells Fargo banking account. And that's a shortened URL, a bit.ly shortened URL. So if I wanted to see where that really was going to take me, I would go to like expandedurl.net or something like that and be able to see where that shortened URL is going to take me. And they do, okay, this is a wild little hack. I'm getting ready to show you a really cool hack that if you didn't know can make you a little hacker, but don't use this against anyone without their permission. But all you need to do is have somebody's like email address, like Office, if they have a Gmail address or an Office 365 address. Most of these large email systems have these recoveries that you can do, and what it will do is send the recovery link to their phone. So to pull this off the hacker, you just have to have your email address and phone number to send an SMS message. And what they do is they send you a fake text message claiming to be from like Gmail. Like in this case, they say, we're from Google Security. We've detected a rogue sign-in to your Gmail account. In order to determine the legitimate login, we're going to send you a verification code to your previously registered phone number from another Google support number. Retype this sent verification code in response to this message, or your account will be permanently locked. You always have to threaten people and let them think that their account's going to be permanently locked or their pictures are going away or something like that. We call that stressor events. Anytime you see a stressor event in an email or an SMS, slow down, it's usually fake. But anyways, so then the hacker goes to Gmail because they know your email address. Instead of putting in your password, they just click on, hey, I forgot the password. And then Google is nice. They're like, hey, you want to try your last password? You're like, no, I want to try another way. You then get 4 or 5 different ways you can recover the account. And all the attacker does is say, oh, send me a verification code to my phone. And then it gets sent to the victim. That is a real Google reset verification code, but in SMS you can't tell because everything just comes across with either codes or phone numbers that are not in your, you don't know that those are real phone numbers. And then the victim puts that in response to that first message. They were expecting the code, they got the code, they respond to the code, and then the bad guy logs into their account and takes it over, changes the login account method and password and all that sort of stuff. This sort of stuff where you're sent fake messages, it happens all the time. People will call you up and claim to be from your bank. They'll claim to be from your airline company, your hotel company, and they'll say, hi, Mr. Grimes, we're from, Bank of America, your bank. Did you buy 2 tickets from Dallas, Texas to Nigeria today? Oh, you didn't? Well, don't worry, Mr. Grimes. We have stopped those 2 transactions. We think there's a malicious compromise. We need you, before we continue, though, we need you to confirm that you are Roger Grimes. We need to have your login name, password, and we're going to send you a code. And we need you to repeat that code to us over the phone. And once the victim does, they take that code, use it in the recovery console, and take over that person's bank account and lock them out. It's done thousands of times a day. Voicemail phishing, again, it's just this person pretending to be from a trusted company. It could be the Microsoft tech support person. It could be a PayPal person. Could be your bank. Could be your hotel company. Could be your airline company. All claiming they detected fraud on your account and they're going to save you. So all you have to do is respond to them quickly and give them the information that you're going to be sent on your phone, and boom, you're gone. Also, of course, you get these spams. Like I continuously get this email or this voicemail from Karen. It says, Karen Stewart, I'm calling in reference to your federal student loan. We need to discuss your repayment options. Well, I know that's fake because I never had a college loan. But I get these all the time. I don't know what's going to happen if I call that number. I just know that it's probably not going to be good. Of course, ransomware is taking over, bringing down companies and cities all the time. Lots of people are getting ransomware. Not only is ransomware encrypting files, it's stealing the data and then saying, if you don't pay me, I don't care if you have a good backup, if you don't pay me, I'm going to release your company's confidential information out on the internet and your passwords and your employees' passwords to their private accounts, to their Facebook and Twitter and bank accounts. We're going to give those passwords to hackers. Very, very scary stuff these days. There's business email compromise scams where they send like fake invoices and things like that, or they ask people to go out and buy gift cards and that sort of stuff. Very, very common. What we tell people is anytime you get an unexpected request for money or gift cards or to pay an invoice, you should have a policy that says that person has to call the person on a predefined telephone number, not using the one that's in the email, to confirm that they really should do it before they do it. Millions of dollars have been stolen. Facebook and Google were victims of a $100 million phishing scam. So it literally can happen to anyone, and companies like there's another one with this Ubiquity Networks lost $46 million. Some of the people on TV that try to sell you stuff, they've lost money through these scams. So what do you do? How do you defend yourself against all of this? Well, first realize there's 10 ways that malware and hackers break in. I've collected this list. I've updated this list. I've been keeping this list for 20 years. This is the 10 ways that people break in. A programming bug, where you haven't patched something, social engineering or phishing. It could be an authentication attack. That would be like some type of password attack. Could be human error, misconfiguration. They could be eavesdropping on your wireless traffic. It could be data or network traffic malformation. Like that would be like a denial of service attack. Could be an insider attack, an employee that's actually doing something wrong. Could be a third-party reliance issue where somebody you rely upon has been compromised and they come into your network through that third party's network. Or it could be a physical attack, like where they steal your, desktop desktop or laptop or mobile device. Anyways, there's 10 ways that all malware and hackers can break in. This is it, and these are the things you have to shut down to stop malware and hackers from getting in. But what most people don't know is that 2 of those things are far bigger than everything else. Social engineering is responsible for 70 to 90% of all malicious data breaches. Unpatched software is responsible for 20 to 40%, and everything else added all up together only accounts to 1 to 10% of the risk. And it's been this way for 30 years. Sometimes unpatched software is number 1, sometimes social engineering's number 1, but social engineering's been number 1 since 2007. And together, those 2 things, they account for 70 to 90% of the risk in most organizations and have for 30 years. So when you're thinking about how do I stop malware, how do I stop this hacker, you want to concentrate on stopping social engineering and unpatched software to the best of your ability. And what I always tell people, this is what I call my 3 pillars of defense here. Anytime you find out that you're trying to stop something, whether it's unpatched software or social engineering or eavesdropping or whatever, you have 3 different things that you're going to try to do. You're going to try to prevent those things from breaking in. You're going to try to get early warning and detection of something that broke in past your preventative defenses, and then try to get best recovery. And to do that, you always need a combination of policies, written policies that everybody knows about, technical controls, that's like your antivirus software, your firewalls, your content filtering and stuff, and education. You always need all 3 of these. So every time you see a particular something that you're trying to fight, you want to try to prevent it from being successful and getting into your place. You want to detect it if it does get into your place with early warning, and then get incident response and early recovery if they do. And it's always going to take a combination of policies, technical controls, and education. If you're trying to think of all the ways to stop social engineering and phishing, I can't cover them all today because we only have 10 minutes left, but I will say it takes a little bit of everything. And I actually have another webinar you can look at that tells you, I think it's 186 or 100 slides long, but it literally tells you everything you can do to stop social engineering and phishing. But I'm going to tell you today the best ways to do it. I'm going to tell you that in just a minute. So if you want to know about the best thing you can do to stop social engineering and phishing, I've actually already told you, and I'm going to tell you again in just a minute. But here's our trivia question here. What do you think is the single best thing an end user can do and check in a URL to determine if it's malicious or not? So I talked about today is that, looking at the URLs of these fake and bogus websites or this and that, looking at URLs is a good way to detect things. What are you looking for? Are you looking for A, to make sure the DNS domain is correct for the claimed website or brand? B, to make sure the URL begins with HTTPS? C, make sure the browser indicates a lock icon, so you know that you have HTTPS. D, to make sure the URL does not include any question marks. Or E, make sure website has the stamp of trust included from a known and reliable antivirus vendor. Please put your possible or guessed at or known answers in the content, and Christian will select a random winner in just a minute, or just not even just a minute, 10 seconds or so.
Yeah. And just to clarify, be nice on your keyboard because it's anyone that says the answer first.
Yeah.
You gotta be ready all the time for phishing, right? So again, what is the single best thing an end user can check in a URL to determine if it's malicious or not? Okay.
Roger.
Okay. Yep. A few people answered, Mayor, Robert, and Cynthia. Thank you for chiming in, and Romel. But it looks like Mayor was the first to answer here, answering A, which is the correct answer.
Way to go. Congratulations again. Yes, if you want to know the #1 thing that you or somebody else can do, it's to hover over the URL link and confirm that the DNS domain is correct. If it says it's from Microsoft, it should be from Microsoft. If it says it's from Maersk, it should be from Maersk. If it says it's from PayPal or Twitter or whatever, that it is the right DNS domain. 80% of bogus websites have a locked icon, the HTTPS, a trusted certificate. Let's say that again, 80% of bogus websites have that locked icon, so you can't rely upon that. Most URLs do have question marks in them. If you have a question mark, that means everything that follows is a server variable going back to the server. That's not a bad thing. And those stamps of trust are just completely bogus because they can just fake them. So thanks, everyone. So what you're going to want to do to try to defend is just have security awareness training. Remember, the #1 way to prevent people from being tricked is to let them know about the types of tricks that are out there, like let your employees know that Microsoft does not call you to proactively tell you you have a virus. You want to phish your employees, do simulated phishing attacks against your employees at least once a month or more. You want to give them training at least once a month or more. You want to tell them to hover over every URL link and verify before clicking. If you want to see how to determine a bad URL, a rogue URL versus a good URL, we've got a webinar on that I gave. And I tell people, when in doubt, if you're not sure if it's a bad URL or not, chicken out. When in doubt, chicken out. And I even teach a course on how you can investigate and go find out if that URL is any good or not. So the big thing about training people is you want to train people how to spot the bad things that get past your technical controls, and then how to respond. And by respond, we usually mean don't click on it. By respond, we usually mean either ignore it, delete it, or report it. Really what you want people to do is report it, so that way if the company is under some type of onslaught of a phishing attack, a big widespread phishing attack, that the company will know and be able to respond. If everybody just deletes it, well, then nobody would know that there is an attack going on. KnowBe4 has been doing this, telling people you need to do this baseline testing where you test your end users, you send a simulated phishing test, you see how many people fall for a regular phish, then you train them and you do simulated phishing tests again and again. You do it at least once a month. We've been doing this for years and years. We're the largest security awareness training vendor in the world. If you do the simulated phishing and training at least once a month, you can reduce the average percentage of people in a company that will click and open a phish is about 30%. And actually it's like 33 to 37% now. And if you train them and send simulated phishing tests as part of that training, you can get it down to about 2 to 5%. And that's not just some companies, that's every single company that follows our advice. You don't even have to necessarily use our software, but if you train people and send simulated phishing tests at least once a month, you can significantly reduce your risk of attack. And you want to use a combination of things. You want to use videos, you want to use documents, you want to use posters, you want to gamify it. Sometimes like those simulated phishing tests, that's kind of a game where you're like, hey, can you spot the fake fish? What's funny is we get emails from people all the time go, hey, we spotted your fake fish. You can't fool me. And it wasn't a fake fish. It was a real fish. So you want to use a combination of things so people don't get bored. When you train people, you want to train like you're a marketer. You ever, when you're watching TV, don't you, like during a show, you're like, oh my God, they're showing me that commercial again. Or sometimes they'll just play the same commercial 2 times in a row. You're like, why are they doing that? That's annoying. Tell you what, it works. Marketers wouldn't do it if it didn't work. So you want to train like you're a marketer. You want to do your training frequently, at least once a month. You want it to be redundant so people really remember. Once enough is not enough. And you want it to be entertaining, just like those Geico commercials on the TV. And you want to give people security awareness training when they're hired, as they're signing up and going through their onboarding training. Usually that's a longer training event, usually 5 to 30 minutes. Then you have these ongoing monthly simulated phishing attacks, these ongoing trainings that are like maybe 1 to 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Maybe they get more training if they're failing some of the simulated phishing tests. And then once a year, everybody gets longer training. And then some people, if they're falling for the simulated phishing test or the real phishing, they get more training as needed. You can give different training to different people. Like if you have employees that can sign checks, or send money, they're going to need the training to prevent business email compromise scams. And then let people know you've got to change it up for different times and seasons and events of the year. Like right now, it's not surprisingly, we're seeing a lot of fake COVID phishing emails, right? Not surprising whatsoever. And around Christmas, we get a lot of these fake gift card scams and that sort of stuff. And you want to mix in general topics. If you want to know what's the #1 clicked upon simulated fish that we send, it's click here to get a free Dunkin' Donuts. Not sure why it's #1, but everybody clicks on it. I used to tell people there's no such thing as a free Dunkin' Donut coupon. Now Dunkin' Donuts, we found out Dunkin' Donuts actually started to honor those fake coupons. They didn't know that they were fake, so now they take them. So you can actually use them apparently and get a free Dunkin' Donuts coupon or free Dunkin' Donuts donuts. And just remember, it's not just email anymore. You got to train across SMS and voicemail phishing and that sort of stuff. And when we tell people, if you're spear phishing your employees, that really anything that's fair game, if you put it in your Facebook, your public Facebook or Twitter account or something like that, that can all be fair game to somebody. This right here, this is a PDF that you can get from us if you're interested. But it's kind of cool. It's called the social engineering red flags. You want to train your employees and yourself about all the different things. Like, if an email comes in late at night, at 2 a.m., if it's got a strange subject, if it's got misspellings, that sort of stuff. This has got like the 20 or so red flags, social engineering red flags. You want to make sure people know what those commonalities are. And also, if you send simulated phishing test, if they fail the test, you want to give immediate feedback of, hey, here's the 5 things that should have thrown you off, that it was kind of confusing. You want to make sure that your phishing test and education are updated. Like, you need to be telling people right now that there's a lot of COVID scams going on. I'm sure as the elections are coming up, at least in America, towards November, we're going to start seeing a bunch of election phishing scams. And then when Christmas gets here, Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'll see the Thanksgiving and Christmas scams. When taxes are due, we see a lot of tax scams. So you want to make sure that you keep your training relevant and up to date. At KnowBe4, we have this subsection. It's just called Scams of the Week, that lists all the most frequent scams that we're seeing, or something interesting. Like the week when Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain died, when they committed suicide, we saw a ton of scams come out that the scammers are always trying to use the newsworthy events. We also think it's a good thing to give users a way to respond to attacks. We do have this free phish alert button that works with Gmail and Outlook, even on the mobile platforms, but it puts a little hook icon there. If you open up an email and you're like, hey, I think this is a phish, you click on it, it deletes it and sends it to a common email address, which is hopefully your email security people. I know I've been talking a lot, but if you're interested, we've got a lot of cool free utilities and tools at knowbe4.com/resources. We even have a lot of cool ebooks and stuff you can download, including my 12 ways to hack multi-factor authentication. My latest book is how to hack multi-factor authentication. It's coming out from Wiley in a couple months. But in the ebook here, it says 12 ways to hack two-factor authentication, but I think it has 18 ways or something like that. We have the ransomware hostage rescue manual that I just helped rewrite and update. That's about what to do if you get a ransomware attack, and lots of other cool stuff, lots of other videos and all kinds of free cool stuff. If you have any questions after today, and if you want to send them to me, send them to rogerg@knowbe4.com, and I promise that I will respond to you within 24 hours. With that said, we've kind of run over already, I know, and so we have a $100 gift card raffle that we're going to be giving out. Christian, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, thank you so much, Roger. That was very helpful and a lot of examples of how people can be phished. Yeah, I do want to announce, though, another exciting part is we're going to be giving away a $100 Visa gift card, as mentioned, in a raffle. In order to get a chance to win that, you want to just look to this link. Jolene will be sure to put in the announcement section a link to follow as well. What you want to do, though, is complete this little survey for your feedback that will enter you in. Be sure, though, to complete it by Friday, this Friday, end of day. That's when we'll be closing the survey. And then the winner will be picked Monday, selected. So just look out for an email then. Thank you again, Roger, so much. I'll leave it to you. Any questions? Be sure to contact, though, as any follow-up with Akins, sales@akinsit.com. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Akins IT.